Time now for WTVT Sports Director Salty Saul Fleischman.
Brought to you in part by your Standard Oil dealer, distributor of new Chevron, the livelier gasolines.
Hello there, sports fans. A brilliant all-around halfback from Tampa's Robinson High School, 195-pound Larry Smith, has been named Florida's outstanding high school football player. The rating was by the Florida Sports Writers Association. And incidentally, I don't like to say this too loud, but I heard from a pretty good source that Larry may not go to Florida or FSU, and this would be bad news for Floridians. By telegraphic vote of its 8 members, the Class A Florida State League, of which Tampa and St. Petersburg and Lakeland and Sarasota are members, has decided to expand to a 10-club league next year, 1965. West Palm Beach is one for sure, and either Clearwater or Leesburg will be the other. Now, Earl Halstead, St. Petersburg publisher of sports books, will operate a Kansas City athletic farm at Clearwater if arrangements can be made with the city. And you remember last week I told you that the city council is sort of held up a bit because they want to make sure they don't have any harmful effects on the Clearwater Bombers. If Clearwater does not develop, McDonald said, and he's the president of the league, that Byron Herlong, veteran sports enthusiast and citrus grower, will operate the Kansas City club at Leesburg. Opening day is April 19th, so we've got a long way to go before we run into the Florida State League. Now, here's a picture of Cypress Garden skier Bob Plouse. He's one of the 40 contestants entered in the 14th annual All-American Water Ski Tournament to be held at the Gardens next weekend. The senior men's events will be the first events this Saturday morning. But the University of Michigan is taking a new claim to #1 ranking in the nation in basketball. It's a terrific story because just last night it happened. And here is Paul Reynolds to lead you on with it, and you'll see it too.
Well, Solly saw last night on the 11:10 Pulse Sports, I carried a story somewhat like this, that the unbeaten Wichita Wheat Shockers climbed to the top of the Associated Press poll for this week. But just moments later, the score was in showing that Michigan had beat them and is, of course, in a good position to come up with that #1 rating again by virtue of that win. In some of the action here, the All-American guard Cassie Russell opened up on the previously unbeaten Wheat Shockers in the battle for top spot at Detroit's Cobo Hall. It was billed as a matchup of Wichita's number 43, Dave Stallworth, and Russell. But Kelly Pete, a ball-hawking Wichita guard, took some of the scoring load off Stallworth as the teams battled right down to the final gun. Michigan led by 2 at the half. Stallworth helped, but Wichita put him right back in front and feeding off for some key baskets. But the second half belonged to Cassie Russell, who scored 23 points in that span, 8 of them coming in the last minute and a half to bring the Wolverines from behind. It was a classic example of a basketball player finding one spot on the floor so much to his liking that he just couldn't miss. Well, the Michigan coach, Dave Stack, didn't have to try to get his boys up for this one. Russell threw in the winning shot at the buzzer to give Michigan an 87-85 victory over Wichita in the battle for national leadership, and you can bet that's going to be a nip-and-tuck battle the rest of the year. Speaking about battles, closer home, Lakeland's at Plant tonight, Robinson at Hillsborough, Chamberlain at Jefferson, King at Brandon, at Mary Help of Christian's Gym, Dunedin at St. Petersburg, Seminole at Northeast, and Dixie Hollins takes on Largo in what promises to be a great night of high school basketball. Tampa will be at Asheville against a tough Biltmore 5. And incidentally, we just heard today that George Sherry, the team manager, suffered an accident last night and has some stitches. Some 43 were taken, and we're certainly sorry to hear about that. But right now, we're going to have a word from Standard Oil, and then Solly Saul will be back with some more interesting sports news for you.
The proud traditions of the Old South are reflected in Standard's tradition of service. From 1886 to today, meeting the needs of the modern motorist with new improvements in products and new standards of excellence in service. Whatever kind of car you drive, whatever the weather or road condition, you'll drive with confidence when you depend on Standard's Old South tradition of providing the best in products and service. Standard Oil, where we take better care of your car.